Happy Saturday morning. I'm going to give you an update on the Bulletproof Diet and where I'm at with it. So today is Saturday, 2 days after I made the first video about embarking on the Bulletproof Diet. I was going to start the diet on Monday. However, Amazon is super quick and my packages are being delivered today. So I'm actually going to start tomorrow. I think I'm ready. I have everything. Pretty much. I might have to pull out some meat to thaw, but otherwise I think I'm ready. So what I wanted to do is, yes, I'm going to follow the Bulletproof Diet to the T. However, I do also want awareness of what else is out there. What are other nutritionists and food scientists saying? And so I went to the library and got a few books, and I've been reading up on them. I'm not going to read all of them by tomorrow morning when I begin. However, I am going to pick out a few things. I've been kind of skimming these different books, and so I'd like to go over a couple of things I'm learning and what is sitting well with me and what is not sitting well with me. Before I talk about anything else, let me just give a nutshell summary of what the Bulletproof Diet is. Essentially, Dave Asprey, like many others, was overweight, and he found his own way to nutrition and good health. And what he discovered is many plants have what he calls anti-nutrients in them. And the first are lectins of these anti-nutrients, and they're a type of protein that permanently attaches itself to your small intestine and even your joints. And he says a lot of plants have this, but mostly beans, nuts, and grains have really high levels. And what they do is they shut off the communication from your stomach to your brain that says, I'm full. The second anti-nutrient is a phytate, and that's another thing built into plants as a defense so they won't be edible to animals. And a phytate slows and prevents the mineral absorption, so you get little nutrients from the food. And again, these are going to be found in whole grains, nuts, and seeds as the major sources. The next one is oxalate, and that's an anti-nutrient also formed in plants to prevent animals from eating them. They're really found in kale, chard, and spinach, as well as buckwheat, black pepper, parsley, poppy seeds, rhubarb, amaranth, beets, chocolate, most nuts, most berries, and beans. At this point in reading this, I'm crying. Those are supposed to be healthy, and that's mostly my diet. The last anti-nutrient is mold. A lot of our foods have mold in it, including coffee, which is where the bulletproof coffee comes in. So if I'm understanding correctly, Dave Asprey would like us to get off of those anti-nutrients that are sabotaging our health, and he would argue that we need to start burning fuel from fats rather than carbohydrates. He recommends grass-fed meats, and that's the prime fuel for this diet. Before I return to the Bulletproof Diet, let me cover some other things I've looked at. In my research leading up to the Bulletproof Diet, I'd heard of the book The China Study by T. Colin Campbell, and his son Thomas M. Campbell referenced a whole bunch. Speaking of whole, I accidentally grabbed the book Whole, which is also by the same author, off of the library shelf, and only when I got home did I realize what I had done. In a nutshell, the China Study says, be vegan, without saying, be vegan. And the authors recognize some pitfalls in both the vegetarian and vegan diets, instead preferring whole foods plant-based as their verbiage of choice. And although I can appreciate all the work and the in-depth look at the eating patterns of the Chinese, I feel like it might be as valuable as studying the driving habits of the Chinese or the ecosystems in China, and then trying to superimpose them upon America. The Western diet is horrible, yes, but do we all need to turn vegan? I'm not convinced. I found the yeast connection after I Googled the phrase, how I cured my rheumatoid arthritis. And the woman whose website I found turned me on to the yeast connection. So I checked out the yeast connection, I checked out the yeast connection handbook, and then the cookbook. I flipped through the cookbook and soon realized these were not for me, so I didn't look at that too much. Actually, I found the Yeast Connection handbook to be the most useful, even more so than the book. The author, Dr. William G. Crook, tends to prescribe nystatin and some other yeast-related prescriptions. The Yeast Connection and Bulletproof both agree on the dangers of mold, and this just shocked me. I really wanted to swipe the mold problem under the rug and ignore it, but they're both saying it's a pretty big deal. I appreciate Dr. Crook being one of the pioneers identifying yeast as a problem. I feel like his recipes fall short of addressing the actual concern of where this yeast comes from, which is the intestinal gut health. Build up that microflora, build up the good bacteria, get your microbiome in order, and everything else will fall into place health-wise. Even in this excerpt, he says, don't eat meat because there's pesticide residues. Well, they're all over fruits and vegetables as well, and he doesn't ever mention organic that I can find. The most he does is have an excerpt from Marjorie Fisher, the editor for Nutrition for Optimal Health Association. I'm grateful for Dr. Crook for being a pioneer in the yeast arena. And I feel like there are some more updated books with more updated information that I would recommend more so. We're going into overload with information, and I'm just going to cut it short. Ultimately, do your own research, find out what's right for you, read your own books, follow your own knowing, and don't take anybody else's word for what you should do. Just do what you want to do. Now let's get into the fun packages that I got today. Coffee! Ooh, ooh. Bulletproof coffee and coconut oil, but not just any coconut oil. Superpower coconut oil. I will grow a red cape and you will call me Superwoman. I'm not totally sure what I'm supposed to do with medium roast though. Where's the dark roast, man? Tomorrow I will make a video on how to make bulletproof coffee, and I am so looking forward to it. I will see you tomorrow. Toodles!